Welcome back to JKMoto Podcast, a weekly motorcycle podcast for the everyday rider, covering current bike and racing news, specializing in track days, club racing, and great entertainment. We truly do it all. And this week we are brought to you once again by Working Class Customs, which is a custom fabrication shop out of northern Utah. And you can direct any further questions to that to Cole. To Cole.
And I'm Cole.
And I'm Easton.
Yeah. Welcome out. Thanks for listening. How are you doing, Easton?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I don't know why I hesitated so much, but I'm doing good. It was a good week, good weekend.
Hold on. That hesitation was enough. It took me a minute to catch my breath. You scared me.
What, you think it wasn't good?
No, I don't know. Did you watch Supercross this week?
No.
Okay, moving on then.
No, I did manage to watch some Moto America, which I think we'll get into here, and I did a little bit of work on a motorcycle, which will be coming out on the YouTube channel tomorrow. So if you're not on YouTube with us right now, that's fine, but head on over to YouTube, check us out. We've got a show, but we also have weekly videos coming out. Throw a subscribe over that way. And if you are on YouTube and you don't want to stick around for an hour, hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours of us talking, and you'd rather just kind of throw it in the headphones and listen, or throw it on your radio while you're driving, that's fine. Down below, we have the RSS link. Click that. Find your favorite platform for podcasts and follow us on there.
And be sure to correct Easton that the video will come out tomorrow, which will be... You'll be listening to this on Wednesday, so actually it'll have already came out on 3 days ago. So therefore,
two days ago. But yeah, you are correct, Cole.
Yeah, that'll teach you. Let's roll the damn intro and get into this.
There, intro it is.
Yesterday at one point, I was in sixth. 153 miles an hour.
And we're back.
We're back and still not talking about Supercross. Somebody DM Easton and tell him to watch Supercross. Gosh, dang it.
If somebody else that watches Supercross DM Cole and say, hey, I'll start a separate podcast with you about Supercross only. We can film on who knows when. You guys figure that out on your own.
My schedule's pretty booked. It'd be a lot easier if you just do it here.
But on this motorcycle podcast, where we specialize in track days, club racing, and great entertainment, I don't think we can include...
you threw in the great entertainment right there? Supercross is great entertainment.
Yeah. Is it, though?
Yes.
But it's always the same condition. You don't have dry asphalt and wet asphalt and dry tires and wet tires.
That's the dumbest comment I've ever heard. The tracks are different every week. Sometimes it rains, sometimes it doesn't. Some are indoors, some are outdoors.
Yeah, indoors. No rain indoors. Don't tell me that they show up to an indoor track and someone's like, it's going to rain today, and they just start hosing it down.
That is not what I said. I said some of them are indoors, some of them are outdoors. They haul in dirt that is traditional dirt for the area. If you're in Georgia, you're going to be racing on some Georgia clay. I
think the easiest way to shut you up maybe is to say that some people work for a living and can't afford the time to watch all of the different motorcycle racing.
Listen, you need to be a little more dedicated, because a friend of ours, who I was, hoping made it home all right the other day and was driving late into the night, he just was watching it on the dash while he was driving. So
people do that.
So, I mean, you can find time. Where there's a will, there's a way. Quit being a baby.
All right. Well, that reminds me of a rider tip we had, or weekly riding tip we had last week, I think it was, about specifically being safe while you're driving to and from the track. And maybe you shouldn't put a video up on the dash. But in lieu of the weekend you just had, how do you feel about this week's riding tip?
They're all new to me, so let's have it. Let's hear it, and I will tell you.
All right. I don't know what I meant by that question, but anyway. All right. This week's weekly riding tip brought to you once again by Benninger Motorsports. Josh Benninger has to say, change one variable at a time. When searching for speed and lap times, you can make changes to your riding or to the bike. Line change, tire pressure, suspension settings, gearing. It's really just a big controlled science experiment. If you make multiple changes and successfully go fast to the next session, then you don't know which change was the one that made the difference. So write down your baseline settings, try one thing at a time, and take notes of the effects, whether they're positive or negative. And that is your weekly riding tip, which is brought to you by Josh Benninger down at Benninger Motorsports. They operate out of MSRH. That is in Houston. Check them out. You can also check out Ride Smart Motorcycle School. I think we're hoping to get to chat with them soon. I don't this year, at some point this year. I don't have an exact date on that, but they had some big news come across their desks. I guess they put it out. It didn't come across their desk just barely, but they put out some pretty big news. Partnership with Aprilia. So they're doing great stuff down there in Texas. Check it out. But that is the weekly riding tip. I was curious because I know you went to the track for a test and tune, as we talked about last week. I was kind of curious how your test and tune went, what it looked like, and if you were keeping in line with the riding tip from Josh.
Okay. Before we get into too much about how my test and tune went, thank you for the tip, Josh. I do have comments about this because absolutely that's the right thing to do. I am not the best at that.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm not a very, I don't know if the right word would be analytical, but I'm not a person that keeps notes. I just throw things at the wall and try really hard. But absolutely, you should do one thing at a time.
I will say, before you dive super deep, I'll back you up a little bit and say that, Josh, what if it's the winter and I got like 10 new parts? Right? Do I really need to change all of them individually?
He's from Texas. He doesn't know how to deal with winters.
That's true. They don't have winter down there. You're right. But I was just kind of thinking about it. I read through it as I do. I get them a little bit earlier than just here at the podcast, and I read through them and I kind of think about them a little bit. And I was like, well, let's say you got new rear sets, new levers, new something, and you set them all up. And I realized he's still correct, right? Because you're going to change it all, but that's your new baseline, right? So you take a note of this is where everything is now, and then you go out and you do one session and you change something. Another session, you change one other thing. But every time you set everything back to baseline and change a new thing and see what changes you get. And then the next track day, you're like, well, these two different things gave me positive. Let's change both of those together, right? And you kind of slowly make your way up. So I do agree with what he said. But
well, no, I agree with what he said. Absolutely. I just know that me and people should do it. I'm not arguing for the other side. That is the right thing to do. You absolutely should do that. I'm not very good at that. Even like picking the lines.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm going to be out there and I might find a new line. I might find 2 new lines on the track on the same session. I'm not very good at, I don't know how to put that. I'm out there trying to go faster. I'm trying to figure out something. And I know maybe there's this one thing I need to work on, but something else might click while I'm there. I have a hard time just focusing on that one thing, which is a good thing. But I would like to say, like I said, before we get into my weekend, I wanted to give a shout out to Gary Yost from Missoula, Montana.
Okay.
Listens to the podcast. He came out and did the NRC. I hope he doesn't mind me airing his laundry. I didn't ask him, but he came out and did the new racer school to get his race license, so that he's ready for
at USBA. Right.
At USBA.
Yep.
Sorry. Anyway, the reason I bring him up was great. It was great pitting with him. It was great watching him, go through the process, and hopefully he enjoyed it and he's back. But the reason I bring him up is Josh Benninger's tip. This gentleman has never raced on a track, at least of that size. Never been part of a club organization or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
He was prepared. he is an analytical person,
Okay.
and he showed up with a clipboard with forms with very extensive. Very extensive. This is what I'm going to work on here. This is what I'm going to work on here, session by session. We're talking like 40 items on there that he'd come back off the bike and, take notes on those 40 items every single round throughout the day. I watched him and he was very diligent about it. And I'm sure that's going to help him be successful.
Yeah. And you said from Montana, right?
Missoula.
That's not a short drive.
No, the funny thing about it is, coincidentally, I drove home from Missoula Thursday.
And then drove down Friday.
I drove through. Yeah, I wasn't coming from Missoula, but I drove through Missoula on my way back to the house to get my trailer and bikes, and it was snowing. And I thought the snow was over, but I got in a pretty big snowstorm just west of Missoula.
Okay.
And coincidentally, Gary showed up. It was cold enough that
Did he have snow on the top of the trailer?
No, he got afraid. He hauled a bike in the back of a truck, and he got afraid of his bike freezing on the way out because he had put water in it, like we've talked about on here. So, so he had to dump the water again, go ahead and put some antifreeze in it for the trip, and then had to swap that back out when at the track.
Wow. Yeah, that's some dedication right there. That's awesome. I mean, props to you. You said Gary, right? Just so I get that name correct. Gary, one, thanks for listening. Two, props to you for coming all the way from Montana, not just giving up when you hit snow, rather going through it. And then three, the fact that you show up with all those things to work on. Because my question for you, Cole, is if you had a coach, like let's say you were serious about club racing, or any club racing had something more than
Let's say I was.
I meant that more like, let's say
I'm serious as a heart attack over here.
Let's say it was like you were getting paid to do it rather than you're paying for it. How about that?
Okay, that's fair.
That's what I meant by serious. Not that you're not serious about it, but it is at a serious level. You're getting paid, and you have a coach, and the coach is asking you like, all right, Cole, we just changed your left foot peg position. We moved it up a half inch. How did that feel? Are you going to be able to tell him?
Yes.
Okay. So is it less that you're not an analytical person and more you don't have someone driving you to it?
Both, but I would say I need that. The only way for me to get there is to have that kind of structure. I mean, if there was somebody standing there saying, this is what we're trying.
Yeah.
For sure. I'd come back and tell them, I didn't like that. I like that, give some details.
But without someone there, you're not necessarily going to make the change, or you'd be like, well, I want to change these 42 different things.
You know me, man. I'm the guy that's like, I'm just going to go faster this time.
Yeah. And that's, there's a fine line, because sometimes, and not to take away from the weekly riding tip, but I feel like sometimes there is just, you just got to go faster. If you're not fighting for tenths of a second, sometimes you just need to grow the guts, whatever it is that's holding you back, and get after it, which is something I know I struggle from a lot. Like changing my foot position, I don't think would really gain me 3 seconds, or 4 seconds or 5 seconds. But the adrenaline of racing, maybe getting on the grid or whatever it might be, or just a really good lap time where I do just push a little bit further and I see that next level, right? Which I think you've had before. You hit like a 2 second faster out of nowhere, and then 3 sessions later, that feels slow, right? And you just kind of start to build. So there's ins and outs of it. I definitely agree with Josh that you take it, if you're looking to make small changes, go one at a time, figure out what works and what doesn't.
Absolutely. And let me just say so that everybody doesn't, judge me. If you open my toolbox at the track, if you open the toolbox, the lid's going to have all kinds of notes written into it. You'll see.
Okay.
But so, I do try. I'm being a little, sarcastic about I do try to keep track of what I'm doing. I just know that I could do it a lot better. And
Yeah.
I do think that that's a good tip. My wife, who tends to run tires for me, make some adjustments. It seems like every week she's getting more and more involved,
Mhm.
which I love. She was asking, she was just asking me about tire pressures earlier today, actually. And I told her I don't care. I'm just running what you put in there because I've gotten to that point. She's looking at the tires when I come back, asking me how it feels. She's starting to do that, and that's to the earlier point. That's kind of what I need is somebody more like
Mhm.
her looking at it, and as her knowledge level comes up on what I need, it's becoming more and more helpful. I mean, she's making those decisions for me.
Well, that's good. I mean, yeah, for those of you out there that are club racing and have a friend or something like that that you can enlist to go with you and whatever, that could be what you need.
It's also
But
why I'm
anyway, besides Gary and your wife, do we get a sneak peek at lap times, or how did how did the weekend go?
weekend was awesome. I
Test
had
and
a
tune. Did we take both bikes out?
yes.
What
So
were let's set the stage first. Sorry, but we're at UMC, right, with USBA on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Saturday.
Saturday
Okay, Saturday. It's how many degrees outside?
started at 46, got all the way up to like 68.
You can see my breath. Wow. Okay, it was 85 here. 46. Okay. So Gary, you'd almost probably had the snow still on top of the trailer. Um,
Hadn't melted yet.
yeah. East, west, perimeter, full course,
West. We're on the west.
west track. So that's what everyone knows. I think that's a good place to start. Probably the
Yeah,
best way to do it.
I had a different opinion, but that's beside the point.
Okay.
So race one for USBA is the east track.
Interesting. Okay.
So I would have
Yes.
loved to have one more day because
Yeah.
we've
Well,
taken
especially when was the last time you were on the East?
a year ago. So I mean, over a year ago. So
Yeah.
so I could have used some more warm up time on the east, but
See,
everybody's
there's that. There goes that whole change one thing at a time. If you change the entire track, can you change anything else? Like,
all right. It'll be interesting to see where we're at. Uh,
yeah.
I'm already excited. I just got off the track. My shoulders are sore. My triceps are sore. Hips, everything. I thought I was in much better shape going in,
Mm-hmm.
and in a lot of ways I am. Man, I was moving on that bike. For those at home, lose a little bit of weight, do your stretching because I didn't know, but I can actually look behind me now.
Wow. All right.
That's something.
Yeah.
That's something. No, I was nervous. Mindset for me, I was nervous. But we all deal with injuries. Hopefully, everybody's as lucky as me and got to schedule theirs for the off season. But being off the bike for 6 months, probably close to 6 months, 4 months, 4 to 6 months, and then a little bit more butterflies than usual getting back out there. Just
Do you
wanting,
feel like there was more pressure this year because it was more of a test and tune? Last year was your first season club racing, right? And you missed the first round.
missed the first round because I was out of country, but
So is there more pressure this time? Was it less a track day, and definitely felt more like, okay, I got to get in, get these things worked out, make sure the bike's working good, and
it was definitely not a track day.
okay.
So to answer that part of the question, it was, I think I mentioned last week on here, but it was the first time in my experience where I was going to the track for specific reasons. I needed specific answers
Mm-hmm.
and needed to work some things out. It was not for the joy of riding. It was making sure everything was working, ready for the season because we're serious.
Yeah, he does care about his club racing.
I do care about my
Not to,
club race.
I apologize for what I said earlier. Like I said, it was if you were getting paid for it. Anyway, um, so end all be all. Do we have to wait till round one of USBA to hear the joy or?
No, but so well, let me start. Let me tell you how my day went. So
Okay.
I had two bikes. I'm going to be running the vintage class again, so I'm still kicking around my 2010 BMW S1000. I think I've probably talked about it on here, but I ordered a motor, an engine directly. Shout out Don, an engine directly from eBay, a used, you know, insert whatever horror story you want.
An eBay motor. Yeah.
And I decided that this eBay motor, it guaranteed that it ran. I mean, there's no official guarantee. It just says
Hey,
guaranteed
that's
to run when
guaranteed.
taking out a bike. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun to just take that engine, throw it in there without doing a dang thing to it, and just take them for what they said. They said it runs, throw it in. So I did that 75% expecting something serious to be wrong with it, or it not to
Well,
shit, or
this was a test and tune, and at UMC, you were Apex Assassins was running it, or sorry, not Apex Assassin, Apex Track Days was running it, correct?
yep,
So there's no official tech.
correct.
Because I wonder if you go to tech for a race and you're like, yeah, brand new eBay motor. Did you look it over? No. I put oil in it, but no.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. So
not to give you away, but just kind of.
yeah, so we didn't. My expectations were low. I've ran it, up to, as you know, I live right next to Mexico,
Yeah,
so
the Mexico Speedway. Yeah.
yeah, so I ran it up there a few times and seemed fine. Worked out. There was
You
a
know,
couple kinks.
I'm pretty sure it's illegal to run a non-street legal bike in Mexico. Also,
You have to register a bike in Mexico?
I don't know, but I just get this feeling that like you cross the border and you still have to have lights. I think.
Allegedly.
I don't know. Right, and that's the best part is we just don't know. It's Mexico. There's no rules. So
Yeah, nobody's ever stopped me there. So we tested it out, and she seemed fine. But you always have that in the back of your mind that something's not going to be right, or when you start really putting it under a load and doing the things.
yeah.
But no, she was kicking along. I think she's got more guts left in her than the previous one that went south on me.
Okay. Yeah.
Seemed like it had some guts. I ran it for 2 20-minute sessions, and I'm just keeping it around for that one particular round, and possibly for a backup. So maybe rainy days. That's a new decision.
Interesting.
I think if we get rain, maybe that's the one that goes out.
It's an interesting decision. You would think that the newer bike with all the electronics would be your go-to bike in the rain, but
Yeah, but
okay.
anyway, so it was awesome. So I was quite excited because, again, for those that don't know, I mean, not to keep bringing me up, but I had shoulder surgery,
Mhm.
fairly serious shoulder surgery. So you don't know exactly how that's going to react. And you want to talk about the mental side of it. Let's talk about the mental side of it. I
Okay.
found myself sitting in the driver's meeting
Mhm.
by myself. I, kind of walked away, stood by myself. And sitting in the driver's meeting, I was asking myself if I still wanted to go fast.
Had that what the hell am I doing here kind of
Yeah,
moment.
it's been so long that I know I want to go fast, but you start to, people that live in Texas, Josh, and get to ride year round, when you take that much time off a bike, and then the first time you throw a leg over, you're gonna give it the onion. There's some questions that come across. You're like, can I still go as fast as I did last year? Did I forget everything I know? And
Yeah. Is it really just riding a bike or
yes. And so I had some of those things going through my head, and then I threw a leg over the old bike, took her out for the first session. It was cold, so not a lot of people out there. So I wanted to hurry and definitely jump on and turn a couple laps on it.
Mhm.
And I got to be honest, man, I was within 2 seconds of my PR on the third lap in the cold on the old bike. And
That's pretty good.
I went, okay, I like this. I remember this. We're good.
Yeah.
And I wasn't, that wasn't the goal. That's just what happened. That wasn't the
Mhm.
goal. I just wanted to go turn it, make sure everything was working on the bike, and it just happened. We went down from there.
Okay, so you said you did the first two sessions on the 2010, and then so what? The first session before lunch, pull out the old 22 with all the fresh.
All
I
the
mean,
fresh everything.
talking about not changing more than one thing at once. Got
Yeah,
fresh everything on that bike.
definitely made some changes. I found, I took a lot of video. I know there's a lot of factors here, but I took a lot of video from inside the helmet at the last race round that I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I was frustrated because, I'm racing other thousands and I'm coming out of the corner and I feel like I'm getting on the gas, a lot of times sooner than I should be. I'm maybe following the same line the other guy's taking.
Yeah.
And it just felt like they would pull me, coming out of a corner. I was getting pulled consistently by a lot of bikes, and I don't know what they have or have not, or how many 50s of pounds they have less than me on them, or whatever. But shout out to one of your YouTube videos. But I needed more power.
Yeah.
I was ready for the bump. So, interestingly enough, I did a lot of stuff, no internals. I just did a lot of little things to help me. But one of the things I did was a quick turn throttle from Alpha Racing, right? And we both had experience with that on other bikes and have both come back and said how much we loved it.
Yep.
I am in love.
Even more
because I don't know, coming out of a corner, you start rolling on the gas. I'm rolling on the gas that same amount probably that I did before, but it's just giving you that little bit more. And
okay, so you haven't necessarily changed, but because the throttle changed, you've got a little bit more based on what you're doing.
Yeah, it's just so much easier to get from, coming out of a corner to full gas quicker.
Yeah.
And instead of rolling on, and then, regripping and trying to grab again and, all the things. So more difference than on my old bike, more difference than on any of the ones I've experienced before. It was magnificent. Highly recommended. I think that was probably the key factor for the improvements once I got on the new bike.
Okay.
But anyway,
you made some suspension adjustments. Any difference there? Feeling?
Yeah, they're not. It's pretty much set where it was last year. I have the potential now.
Yeah, change a bowl, but not changed.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
got it.
So that'll be coming. That'll be for the next test and tune in 2 weeks.
Sweet. So you said the first rounds on the East is the next track day on the East then?
Yep.
So they are giving one West, one East. I mean, that's not too bad. Yeah, it would be nice to have it would be nice to have 2 days on the East to get a little more practice there. But at the same time, it's got to be nice to do your first shake off, shake down, whatever you did over the winter. I want to test this out at a place right? If you went to the East, you're looking at a personal best from 2 years ago before you started racing, before you really, no offense, but before you got fast. And so there's no real comparison there. Whereas on the West, you have something to compare to. Now you can go to the East, fresh and clean. The bikes are good. I'm good. I know I can do better than I did last year. Now let's see what I can get on the East and set my new personal best there.
Right.
That's my take on that. But so it sounds like
you're absolutely right. It's just the anticipation and having to sit there and look at one with the other one right there.
Yeah, you just got to get on the on the video game and.
Oh, I have been.
That's how you do it. That's how all the professionals are doing it too. So
I know. Last year it was just set on the West,
and
so whenever I'd turn it on, it was just race the West. But a month or so ago, I switched it over to the East.
Good deal. Well, I have not. I haven't ridden the East yet, and I'm trying to remember Apex track days. Let's go to their schedule and figure out. Looks like I will be riding the East this year, so you will finally get me on your favorite configuration of UMC, which does look like a lot of fun. Honestly, it's
It
got
is
the
wild.
sweet kind of blind chicane, whatever you will call that area. Yeah.
Also, so both the east and the west, they're both roughly 2.2 miles long.
Mm-hmm.
The east feels like a much longer track.
Okay. I mean, just looking at the maps, the west just kind of looks right, one giant S almost. Not that it's boring. I've ridden it. It's not that bad. But it is just kind of left, right, left, right, left, left.
So I have a new PR.
I thought we were keeping that a secret.
We're just going to leave it alone, but
Okay.
it just blows me away. Before lunch, I was 1.2 seconds, 1.2 seconds better than my previous PR,
That's pretty
which
good.
which just blows me away. I did not expect that. That's without a checkered flag.
Yeah.
They put a
That's-
checkered flag in front of it.
I mean, that's a test and tune. Like you said, you weren't there to do a track day. You weren't necessarily there to set a new time. It was just kind of there to dust off, set everything up, make sure everything's good. You just got a new motor, put all these new things on a new bike. Just want to make sure everything's good. That's pretty good. And before
So-
lunch, that's third, fourth session. That's
So
not bad.
hopefully that's a sign of things to come. I'm excited about the year. I'm sure we'll talk about it more on here. We'll kick off. But last thing I want to say about that is, I mean, we had a good week for people reaching out, getting back into track riding. New people, some former track day junkies wanting to get back into it. To top that off, the new racer school,
Mm-hmm.
they had 30 people again.
I saw that. I saw the post, and I was like, "Yo, what?"
So last year, I don't remember the exact number, but it was around that 35 range or something,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a record. That was a record for the whole history since 2006, and bam, 30 more people. And I noticed, I went and watched a couple times just to check it out, see the new guys.
Mm-hmm.
And there was probably, I don't know, in that, out of the 30 people, there were 5, 6, 7. I didn't count, but there was a chunk of people that obviously were just renewing their license because
Okay.
I don't see too many people dragging elbows, on their first day. So there's some people, there's some stories out there, right? There's some people that have decided to get back in on the fun, or must have taken a couple years off and needed to redo their license. So that's good.
Yeah, or the new talent coming in is just that good.
Maybe them video games, they're magic.
Yeah. They change it. Yeah. Hey, real quick, since you mentioned it, just wanted to give a shout out to Oldhead. Thanks for reaching out. He was our winner of our fantasy last week. Also, once again, no MotoGP this week, so no fantasy for this week, but you do have a chance to join. You're 2 weeks behind, or 2 GPs, 2 races behind so far, but we give out gifts, prizes, whatever you want to call it, based off of the point winner each week. I.e., you could stay in last place for multiple rounds because you started late, but you're still gaining more points than everyone every week, and you're still winning prizes. So, not too late to join. That link will be down in our description. Go click on it, join before next week, get your fantasy lineup set up for MotoGP, and meet us in Juras.
You're gonna offend people with your juras.
So
So
we're American, and I don't know how to speak the other languages. Sorry.
all right, looking forward to juras, but before we get to that, we had racing this week.
We did.
Arguably
Some really freaking good racing.
Arguably better racing.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, does that wrap up? So just to clear up, wrapping up Cole's weekend and moving into your live Moto America coverage. That's not live at all because it's Wednesday. But in case you missed it, we're here to talk about it. And if you did watch it, we're here to share our opinions. And we want to know how you feel about the weekend. So leave it down in the comments. Let us know who's going to take the championship for Moto America in 2024.
I know.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
You can't.
Sean Dillon Kelly.
No freaking way. No.
Come on.
Fluke. First race of the season. He's going to look, as per tradition, he went off to Moto 2. He did some amazing things that weren't super amazing in Moto 2, and he comes back to Moto America, and right off the bat is doing great. Love the guy. Killed it. Amazing weekend from Sean Dillon Kelly. It was awesome to watch him race, doing some great things, but ain't going to keep it up. He's going to have a wreck and a crash and an injury, and I'm sorry that I just jinxed it on him, but it's going to happen because it happens to everyone that does that. I shouldn't have said that. We can edit that out.
Wow. No, I was just kind of joking about the Sean Dillon Kelly thing, but honestly, the guy is stepping up in power, learning electronics. He's never rode one of them bikes before.
No. So it is definitely different because the other guy we're talking about, or I was talking about, was Cambobier, right? And that was all just a joke, just to put that out there. It was
I
all
just
a
wonder
joke.
when he's going to be on a BMW. That's the important part.
Yeah, for you, whatever. Forget that. But Cambobier won Moto America Championships, went to Moto 2, and came back, right? Sean Dillon Kelly, not so much. So you're right.
He never went to 1,000 though. I mean, he raced Moto
No,
America.
that's what I'm saying. This is his first time on a big bike with electronics doing any. He's on a super bike. It's not stock 1000. It's not anything he's ridden before. Those are pretty custom built bikes. So absolutely killing it. The biggest takeaway for me this weekend, and we can kind of dig into everyone individually, but was that there is so much to dig into, and that's big for Moto America. I do have to throw a disclaimer out there. Last year and throughout this year so far, before it started, I've been talking about how you can go watch the races on YouTube same day, at most day after. I got on yesterday to do that, to see if the Saturday race was on, and it was not, but it said premieres in 6 days, i.e. Moto America is holding all of their races on YouTube for a week before you can watch them. So they heard my sneak trick to all of you that I gave you to just go watch them on YouTube and not pay for the app. They heard me, and they fixed it by breaking it for us. So I don't know that I can recommend purchasing the app.
The app's a lot better this year too.
It is better.
They made a bunch of changes. It is a lot better. One of the things that they've done is you can now stop watching and come back and watch from the same spot you were at. This was
Sorry, I'm just checking out their YouTube channel real quick because it looks like the Junior Cup. No, yeah. So highlights you can catch like same day, like right after the race. The highlights will be up, but it literally says upcoming Steel Commander Superbike Race 1 at Road Atlanta, full race Moto America. If you click on it, it says premieres in 5 days, right? So April 27th. And you can set a notification, have it notify you. But anyway, back to Cole.
That's all. I mean, the app's better than it used to be.
It is better. If anyone from Moto America is listening to this, or if you're thinking about getting the app and paying for it, or you're not sure yet, the biggest complaint that I have is the fact that you cannot cast the app.
Thank you.
I can cast my phone screen to my TV because I have a Google TV thing and a Google phone and whatever, but then I have to leave it up on my phone and set my phone out to the side and watch it, which is okay, but it also isn't the best connection. I was having like real fuzzy. I was doing that yesterday, and it was just kind of like real. Anyway, not loading well, choppy, whatever you want to call it. And so I just watched it on my phone. Then tonight, I watched race 2 on my phone. And if you're going to present an app for the price at which you're presenting it, and I'm going to pay for it, your technology better be up to date. I don't know if you had the same problem, Cole, but their audio was cutting out the entire time. And it wasn't the show or clip buffering, because the clip itself was going the entire time, the video part, and the audio was just cutting out. So I missed like probably 40 to 50% of the audio.
Yeah, like every 10 seconds on, 10 seconds off, 10 seconds on.
Yeah.
Okay, I just thought that was me and my bad connection on, because I was playing on a computer connected to a TV because you can't cast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Actually, watching the Supersport race, since we're complaining now, watching the Supersport race, sometimes I've seen that in lower classes. Somebody tell me if I'm just crazy, but some of the races don't have the motorcycle sounds. On the lesser classes,
Maybe they only paid for the mics for the big bikes.
maybe because on some of the lesser classes it'll just be silent. The bikes will be going around silent, and it's just two guys commentating, and it really robs the experience a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never had to deal with that, but I can imagine that. And at first you'd be like, oh, it's not that bad. I listen to the commentators more than anything anyway. But then I think about today when I was like only getting half the commentary. I was like, I'd almost rather you just turn it off.
Right.
I'll just listen to the bikes. So it's interesting. At the price of the Moto America app cost, definitely got better, like you said, 100%. Can't say it's better. If you want to watch them live, you want to watch them same day or even close to that, the app is the way to go now. They kind of changed the YouTube thing. However, if you're down for watching, just know that there'll be some spoilers here. So if you haven't watched it yet, which you 27th, you won't be able to until after this comes out. Go ahead and pause this until you go watch on YouTube. Or just it's worth watching anyway. I think we're not going to cover everything, and it doesn't cover it.
All right. Forget the app. So let's talk about some of them spoilers.
Okay.
Race 1, we had a dry race.
It says at Road Atlanta. We're talking about the superbikes. This is race 1. This is Saturday. Beautiful weather, dry, and what a field of riders we have this year.
Yeah, it's getting stacked.
Is it going to stick around though? The biggest question I have is Bobby Fong a fluke in a random week, good week, or is he there to stay?
Oh, Bobby Fong, Bobby Fong's a good rider. So, sorry, this is more about all Moto America, but there is a lot of riders pulling double duty this year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's quite common for riders to race a bagger and also Twins Cup, or race a bagger and also hooligans, or something like that. But we had superbike riders racing other classes.
Yeah.
Unless I'm crazy, we had some riders in super sport and superbike.
I didn't catch the super sport race, so I can't back you up on that. I don't know.
You'll have to go with the entry list.
Yeah. Well, maybe they updated their bios so we actually know who.
Yeah.
Let's see. Super Sport. I'm not seeing any names. Corey Alexander.
No. He raced superbike at the end of last year, but he's full-time super sport this year.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not seeing any names that look like they cross over as of yet. What the heck? What just happened to my Moto America website? 2016 results? What the heck?
Yeah, man, that was a hell of a year.
Registration. Okay. All right. Sorry.
You are going racing.
I guess. When you click on results, it takes you over to the registration tab. But I kind of like this cool picture of the race this weekend. Anyway, Bobby Fong, from what I hear, he's on a privateer bike, or at least not a super crazy sponsored team. Took the pole for qualifying? Question mark.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool. And then showed a really freaking good race on Saturday, and then Sunday kind of just wasn't around. Which the rain is so cool for motorcycle racing because it makes the field way different, or can anyway. It has the potential for huge changes out on the field. So it's kind of cool to get that in the first race. We really kind of get to see a shot of who's got the rain shoes and who doesn't, I guess.
Yeah. Mud races never happen in Supercross. Sorry.
What is with you in Supercross? Why can you just not drop that? I'll give you. We'll add it in. Let us know down in the comments. Every listener right now, vote yes or no. Should we add in a 5-minute? Cole gets to talk about Supercross for 5 minutes. We'll do a post intro every week. Cole can talk about Supercross. Let us know yes or no down in the comments. Throw it down there. We'll go based off of that.
Perfect.
First official poll on
Supercross.
Yeah. Put your votes in now. Anyway, back to the regularly scheduled program. I'll let you talk in a little bit. The biggest thing I just want to say was, last year we preached, go watch Moto America, go watch Moto America. And I think last year we kind of fell on our face a little bit. It kind of turned into the Gagne show. And Cambobier had some big kind of
Big crashes.
crashes. Yep.
Didn't finish the year.
And that was like really Bobier and Herrin were the two to come in and kind of spice it up. This year, it feels like you got Sean Dillon Kelly coming in, like I said, right off the ticket, or like you said, right off the ticket. He's good to go. He's balancing. He's going good. Didn't have the most amazing weekend, but if you relate that anything to like Pedro Acosta, right, showed some super good and learned a lot. And so
We're not going to fall on our face this year because last year you basically going in at just not necessarily even the case, but going in you felt like there was 3 bikes that could do it.
Yep.
Cameron Bovier, Jake Gagne, Josh Herrin. Those are the bikes. And it doesn't take very long to get into the year and have a couple chinks in the armor to where it starts becoming a one-horse race again. And
yeah, unfortunately not the horse team, the other team.
Yes,
Same
but
team.
this year, Loris Baz. I mean,
Yeah.
he ain't shown up yet, but
He wasn't not there though.
yeah, I mean that's true.
Realistically,
But Loris Baz, I mean, Josh Herrin arguably had that without some help from the pre-mentioned Bobby Fong knocking him off the track.
yeah, we need to dig into that in a little bit. After we talk about Josh Herrin by himself for a second, we definitely need to dig into that. And I'm glad that you already said what you said. But yeah, I mean, Josh had a full year on the bike last year. This is his second year on the bike, and he was looking great. The rain, I don't know what was going on, whether or not it was actually a bike issue. He wasn't doing so good in the first place anyway, and then had some pretty big bike issue from the look of it, or from what I was able to hear.
Yeah.
Don't know. But Saturday in the dry, Josh was doing super good up until what's your opinion on that, Cole? Is that
Bobby Fong yeeted him
100%, dude? He snuffed him out. Like it wasn't. I mean, it's one thing to come in and go under someone. That's great, and to maybe push him to the outside edge of the track a little bit. Okay, but he went in way too fast to where he had to go so wide that he took up the entire track and did it right under Josh and just literally pushed Josh. If Josh hadn't stood the bike up and slowed way down, he would have wrecked, right? The fact that he stood up, slowed down, and rode off is like, I mean, huge props to Josh Herrin. Great job saving that. That was amazing. And then to come back and finish in
How hot was he? How hot was he on the track after that?
That was like maybe he needs that every week. I don't know. That was awesome. That was amazing.
If he would have done that from jump start, he would have had a 10-second lead on everybody anyway, and that wouldn't have happened to him.
Yeah, 100%. Because he comes back in ninth place. What, 10 seconds back? Probably. Yeah, I don't even.
He was flying.
Exactly. Anyway, yeah, comes back in ninth place after putting the bike in the gravel, right at the last turn before the straight. And if you haven't seen that, go watch it. I think you'll agree with this. No, there's no whatever made about it. I know Josh was definitely mad about it. You saw that kind of after the race. I didn't stick around for the whole thing, but I don't blame him at all. I'm 100% say it was a little bit of a dirty move. Not the smartest, not the best, but everyone stayed up. It was okay. But yeah, Josh freaking lit a candle under him after that and just got after it. Came from ninth all the way back up through the field to fifth. And like you think ninth to fifth is only 4 spots, but if you look at the time difference, he had some impressive freaking lap times after that. Just got his head down, got to work, passing everybody, getting back up there. So
absolutely, and it goes back to the competitiveness of the class this year. I think everybody realizes you're not going to get away with many mulligans.
Yeah.
Or you're not going to have many mulligans, I should say. But to go from the potential of winning to chasing up from the back, even though it was a great recovery, I can see him being mad. I'm sure there was nothing malicious there, but it was just kind of a aggressive.
Yeah, I don't think Bobby Fong was trying to do anything. I think he made an unwise move. He could have waited, pushed a little too soon, a little too much speed, whatever, which is racing, right? So that stuff happens. And I'm not necessarily like saying boo, whatever. But I don't blame Josh at all for being mad about that one because 100%, like, what was he supposed to do in that instant, right? So, but it's racing. It happens. But the other thing, you're a big BMW fan, Cole. It's shaping up to be maybe a good freaking year for you here in the States.
What do you mean, just the States? I'm telling you what. I mean, we got some World Superbike to talk about here too, also. But
Like today.
yeah,
Sorry,
we've got
I didn't watch World Superbike, but
obviously. So JD Beach is looking awesome on a BMW. Cameron
100%.
Beaubier, there was a question mark with him, after the injuries that he had last year.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's gone.
the
Erase
question's
that.
gone. That
Make
dude's
the
hungry.
squirrely straight up and down. Did you see that freaking? I mean, I was watching, right, and you listen to the commentators. We always joke about how they act like they know everything, and they're like, "This guy was thinking about the fact that his wife ate pizza last night, and so if he doesn't pull the move right now, then she's going to want pizza again, and he can't afford that because." And anyway, right, they're in the writers' heads, but the one thing they had 100% correct was that Bobier was just kind of sitting there. He just, he didn't go straight for the attack. He had that whole thing planned out. It seemed like the whole race. He knew exactly where he was, exactly what he needed to do, exactly when to make that move. And you watch him come down that back straight at the very end. And Road Atlanta is like, oh, what a sweet spot. Corner 10A, 10B, that little kink. You come
Right.
down off the straight down this hill, and the braking right there is like they're braking from 180, 190 all the way down to I think 30 or 40 miles an hour to go through a very, very tight chicane-like kink. Then they fly under this bridge. Sweet spot to watch. Almost better in person. That corner specifically, not almost, is better in person to watch. You just miss the rest of the race if you're watching in person. But him making that move right at the end of the race, literally last lap, like so perfect. Comes down the straight, makes the pass, and then gets to the end, and you're like, ooh, is Gagne going to be like right before they start braking? You're like, is Gagne going to get him back? Who's going to be on the brakes? And then Cam Bovier just doesn't brake. Did he? Did he ever hit the brakes? I don't know. it was
I don't
it
think
was
so.
in it was insane how late he held that. Like no one had any chance. There wasn't he needs to hold a tighter line. There wasn't any of that because he just didn't hit the brakes at all. Slammed it through those corners, took the win, and kicked off the first race of what is guaranteed to be an amazing Moto America season. So that's all I had. Sorry.
No. Huh. Well, I agree. It's going to be great. Going to race 2, we had weather.
Yeah.
We had rain. Changed things up a little bit. But, talking about that move that Cameron pulled, uh, he tried doing that again in the second race.
Yeah.
Something very similar.
Yep.
And
Someone saw that coming in race 2.
somebody saw that coming, and he came up a little bit short. But still, them again. I was joking earlier about making it the BMW show again because I know you guys are sick of it. But the BMWs look good.
They
The
definitely look.
Ducatis look great. That Yamaha looked weak.
Yeah.
That was a great rider. I mean, that day might finally be coming where a 2016 Yamaha can.
Finally gets outclassed. Yeah, it's interesting because the commentators are talking about how dialed in that is and how smooth Jake looks on it and everything else. But I'm sitting there watching Josh on this Ducati just barrel through everything and watching the BMWs just look so dialed in, and you can see it on the straights. Both of those two European bikes just have that power, 100%. They'll take them down every time. So, like the fact that Cambodia could just kind of sit back there and just be like, "Yeah, I'm chilling, I'm good," and then pull the
And
moves. I will give huge credit to Jake Gagne. I'm not trying to just kick him off as whatever. He's going to fight to the death. I guarantee it to keep his championship. But and props to him in race 2 for pulling the lines that he did right at the end, knowing that Bobier was coming. Like it made for some great racing. If you watch race 1 and then you go watch race 2, that last lap of race 1 and race 2 looked like they were about to be identical, but you know that both those riders are actually like in each other's minds. This is what he's going to try and do. Sure enough, he tried it. He blocked it. He tried something else, and Jake Gagne ran a great race. that BMW still almost had him right at the end there. I think if the straight for the finish line was a little bit longer, it would have been
Agreed.
nothing you could do.
He would have slingshot him. But before I get roasted for saying the Yamahas, it's hard to. It's only the first race, but
Yeah.
so I don't want to eat my words, later.
Nah, eat them. It's more
But
fun that way. Let's make crazy predictions.
well, I'm just saying, I just kind of bagged on the Yamahas, and it's no anti Yamaha anything. It's just somebody listening is going to say, "Really, dude? Jake Gagne won, and Cam Peterson was in third." I mean,
Yeah.
those are the two Yamahas, first and third. So how can you say? But if you watch the whole race, you watch in entirety, they're starting to suffer with the same things. You see them suffering in World Superbike compared to the other bikes.
Yep. Yeah, and then I'm not remembering who it was now. It was JD Beach, wasn't it? Or was it Sean Dillon Kelly that put their bike down in the rain?
JD Beach.
Okay, that's what I
They
thought.
picked it up and jumped right back on.
Yeah. What and dude, what a wreck! Holy cow!
That was a huge crash.
Yeah, hits a
Brings up,
puddle. Like back wheel hits a puddle. Bike wobbles. If you watch it in slow mo, you would have thought he would have saved it, and then it's just like no, and just gone.
yeah,
But
I mean,
classic rain wreck. You lose it, and there's no recovery.
huge slide, but that bike didn't just slide. The bike flipped.
Yeah, flipped it. Was in the dirt, mud, digging.
And
He's on the opposite side of the track. Gets up, looks back. He's like, track's clear. Sprints over there. Almost drifted the thing. That was the coolest part to me. He's like sitting there, like, when you're a kid and you can't actually ride a bike, so you just sit next to it and just kind of ride around in a circle.
he didn't have his leg thrown over the bike when he entered the track.
No, he was sitting on the yeah.
And
He was
then
side saddling it,
yeah,
getting
and then
on.
as soon as that leg came over, man, that thing was just like zip. I mean,
Yeah.
he was back on the gas and gone. And kudos to the bike for holding together
Yeah.
through that. Kudos to him for wanting to get back on it after that.
Yeah, well, and then he's coming through the next corner he hit that has a puddle right in the middle of it. I didn't see any, because that was my biggest thing. I'm like, there's no way, not there's no way, but I was curious to see his reaction to, okay, here's water again.
Right.
Is that going to trip him up? Nope, absolutely zero hesitation, straight for it, doesn't care. Obviously, he just hit the puddle a little bit wrong, got back on the bike, got some spots back, lost a couple doing that, but all in all, still a great race from him. So.
Yeah, it was good. And so are they? Where are they going next?
Well, let me get back to their actual website again instead of their registration.
Because they got to have one more race before they go to Barber, right?
I don't think so. April, May 17th through the 19th, the Barber. Yeah, so they got, it's almost a month. It's a month until the next race in Barber. And then it'll be like a week and a half until Road America, a couple weeks till Brainerd, a couple weeks till the Ridge.
And who's going to be at Barber?
Who? I mean, a lot of people, probably Josh Herrin, Cam Bobier, JD Beach.
This guy.
That guy. Cole. You're going to be a Barber?
Yes.
Are you racing the 2010 or the 2022?
I'm racing the 2007.
8, 9, actually. But yeah.
My bike's at no 9?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, your favorite motorcycle podcast, JKMoto podcast, and the Working Class Squad will be down at Barber Motorsports Park. No, we are not going to be racing in the Moto America race, but we will be doing the track day the day after. Excited to see everyone down there. I know we'll be hooking up with everyone that we know. We'll see you guys down there for sure. Well, I'm not going to say for sure because we were saying that about Coda and things can come up, and I'll always, from here on out, I always hold that things can come up, but we are planning on it. So if you're going to be down there, come say hi. We'll be there the whole weekend. I'll have my Instagram available. Shoot me a direct message on Instagram, figure out where we're at. Come say hi. We'll give you a sticker. And if you want a chance to ride Barber, They're doing a track day the Monday after, which is, I can say, it's super sweet to ride a track and watch a race on a track. Kind of gives it a different level of realness or whatever you want to. It's different.
Especially a Moto America race.
Yeah.
You know, a Moto America race, you're going to get to walk around. You're going to get to be with the people. It's a lot more open doors than
Yeah.
than a
General
motor.
admission is also a pit pass. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can't stress that enough. I've been to a couple up at the Ridge, went to Road Atlanta last year. It's super awesome. Get down, you can literally go say hi to Josh Herrin, talk to him for a few minutes. Whoever else you want that's down there, if you can catch them, treat that with respect. You know, if it's your first time going to a Moto America, don't just bombard everyone. These guys are busy; they got a lot going on, but it's super cool and makes it definitely feel a little bit more real when you can just go talk to them and they're out in the open like that. So
Yeah. Well, the only other thing that I have to say here. So we're recording this on a Sunday.
yes,
So if you haven't watched World Superbike, I mean, I guess I'll give you a pass. But when you said earlier in this, I said arguably better racing,
mm-hmm.
and you said yes,
Mm-hmm.
and you weren't talking about World Superbike.
Mm-mm.
I was.
I was talking about MotoGP.
World Superbike is the best thing going right now to watch. And if you're missing that, you are missing the greatest motorcycling racing season maybe ever. You want to see races that are going from the fifth place guy is going from fifth to first, and any combination of that every round, people moving around, the leads. Oh man, it's competitive. Different. You got BMWs, you got leading, you got Yamahas leading, you got Ducatis leading,
I can see that. Holy cow.
you got everybody's getting involved except for Honda. But
Oh, I was gonna, real quick right before we get there. Honda though in Moto America, they made it to the screen.
yeah, but don't you know why?
No,
It's amazing what money will do.
well they said they were stock 1000 bikes basically, stock
That's
trim.
because they don't have all the parts yet. That's because last minute Honda came out and offered a giant contingency for anybody winning on Hondas, and all of a sudden Hondas started coming out of the woodwork.
It was interesting because I didn't even know there was a Honda in Moto America. It was the first time I'd seen that, so that makes sense.
So Hayden Gillum announced a while back, but Ashton Yates jumped on one as soon as the contingency got announced.
Mm-hmm.
And Honda, they haven't been able to get parts. They're kind of behind the eight ball there. That's why they're referring to them as pretty much a stock bike, is because they pretty much are a stock bike because they don't have the aftermarket parts yet for them.
Okay, that makes sense.
So those parts should be coming. I'm sure they'll get more and more of them as the year goes on, but I think you'll see more and more Hondas too, because Honda hasn't really had a relationship with Moto America since, well, maybe ever, because that relationship was soured before Moto America took over.
Right.
But Honda announced a bunch of contingency money, and they want people on their bikes, and it seems to be working.
All right. Well, hey, that's something good to look forward to. That's news to me, so that makes sense. But yeah, definitely. I mean, you saw both of them this weekend. One went down, got back up. Aiden Gillum was doing pretty good, all things considered. I guess if you're missing parts, you don't have a team behind you, and all those different things, then yeah. So anyway, back to World Superbike. Sorry,
Back to World Superbike. So I'll ruin it for you.
Okay.
Because you're already looking at this computer screen, so you already know.
I do have the results in front of me. Yeah.
So there is a battle brewing, and on the Ducati front, you have Batista, reigning two-time champion. He's got that new little rookie, Bulaga, and that rookie came out of the barrel looking like a superstar, really outclassing Batista. And
Yeah. Okay.
what do they always say? Your first goal is to beat your teammate.
Mm-hmm.
right? Batista wasn't doing that. So you can tell that Batista has some extra fire when it comes to finishing ahead of Bulega. At least that's what I'm seeing when I watch.
Is that how
So
they say that? Bulega
Bulega.
on the bologna bullet?
Yep.
The bologna
Bulega.
bullet riding Bulega.
Yeah, something like that. But it is Bulega. That's how they say it.
Okay.
So anyway, race 1 was in the rain, but only kinda. But then it wasn't. But then it's one of the weirdest races I watched. Half that track was bone dry, and half that track was quite wet.
Okay. Like half like down the middle or like sector half?
Sectors.
Okay.
2 sectors were completely dry. 2 sectors were completely wet and raining.
Like actively raining.
Yeah, consistently for most of the race. I mean,
okay, that's really weird.
So you would watch those bikes go through, and they would start turning they would start speeding up in the dry stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then they go back to wobble wobble. They were on slicks. So the whole field chose what tires they wanted, right?
Yeah.
And they took various stages, but most of the everybody took slicks, except for the winner in race 1. Remind me his name so I don't say it wrong.
Spinelli.
Spinelli is filling in for Petrucci. That's his first World Superbike race.
Okay.
They throw him on rain tires.
Uh-huh.
At one point, he had a 25-second lead.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you're saying half the track was wet,
Yeah.
I was gonna when you said that they would like speed up in the dry and then slow way down. I'm like, I mean, okay, but you would feel like that'd almost be perfect for rain tires because they'd cool down and then.
Yeah, but they were on slick, so they
That's
they
wild.
would come through there, and they were still hauling, man. They were still going.
These
But
guys they're insane.
But it would, I mean, the bikes were just jerking. Jerking. You just watch them. They'd go to try to pass somebody. They're riding on ice, and the bikes are jerking back and forth, and then they hit dry, and it'd be gung ho again. But I know I said it rained the whole time, but obviously it was starting to dry out towards the end, and they were 1 second faster than Spinelli. Then they were 2 seconds a lap faster than Spinelli. Then they were 4. Then they were 5, and they just started eating into that 25 seconds. And oh man, now I can't. Locatelli, I think. Locatelli on a Yamaha. His bike blew up, and he blew oil on the track.
Oof. Okay.
And after doing all that fighting, everybody was coming. Spinelli was going to get.
Not one of the big. Everyone went down.
No.
Okay.
No. So Spinelli was going to finish 10th or worst. It was almost guaranteed. That's how fast they were coming.
Mm-hmm.
There was 2 or 3 laps left. They were all going to blow by him. The whole field. I mean, he was going to be 10th and back. And the bike blew up, got oil on the track, and they red flagged it. And they were over 2.
Okay, so they just called it right then and there.
Yeah, so they just called it right there. But Toprak was absolutely going to win that race because he blew down Batista, which was a race in itself. If you watch those guys, Batista was leading, Bulega was leading, Toprak was leading, and then he wasn't leading. I mean, it just went back and forth through like 5 different riders. And the whole time Spinelli's out front, right? And then they're all coming to blow him down. Toprak, everybody knows they're going to get him. I'm sure their pit boards are telling them or whatever. Everybody knows they're catching him. Toprak takes 2nd place, and then they red flag it. So he was going to win. He ended up with 2nd. Great race, fun to watch.
And Spinelli got first for his first race ever.
First world. He's batting 100.
That's good. But I mean, if he was a fill-in, I don't know how long Petrucci will be gone. I guess probably
a while.
Yeah, based off his wreck. But I was like, he could keep that record,
Yeah, I would. Maybe he should just not try again.
Yeah, he's like, I'm good. You needed a different fill-in.
Actually, we're wrong because that was race 1. So
Oh yeah, then true. Race
his
2,
record's
not so
already
much.
straight.
Yeah.
So Toprak looked like he had wheels under him. We go into the Super Pole race,
Mm-hmm.
and Toprak, I mean, you just think that he's going to win,
Mm-hmm.
and he's up there fighting for the lead, and then he just lost the tires. The tires just went away, and he just started dropping and dropping and dropping, and
Yeah.
you had a big battle up there, and Batista wins it.
How do you lose the tires in a
10-lap race.
Yeah.
They just went away, man.
Okay.
So, the hope is you get your bike fixed, you come out for the final round.
But let's see real quick. I'm trying to That's weird though, because all of the BMWs 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. That's just kind of interesting.
Yeah,
The
they're all
top
really,
rack fell back, but they're there. They all are right there. Boom, 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 boom. All pretty close to each other too. It's not like they were super far out. So interesting. Okay, tires. I guess I'd have to go back and watch it. That's weird.
So I think they threw a super soft on there because it was only 10 laps.
Just
And,
ate through it too quick, huh?
yeah, it lasted 5.
Instead of a super soft, they accidentally like an actual super soft qualifying tires. Like, yeah, it's good for
1 or 2.
two flying laps, warm up lap, 2 flying laps, cool down lap. You got to bring it in. It's gone. It's like, I need 10. Well, sorry.
Yeah, so that one was, what it was, but it looked like Batista had it, And then they come out for the third race, or the second race, rather.
Yeah.
And what a race that was. I mean, if you're going to watch one, watch the second one. Not because of who the winner is, but
Sure.
it was a dry race, yet it sprinkled. I mean, the guys stood out there with the white and red cross flags.
Mm-hmm.
It was sprinkling, so sometimes I think people didn't necessarily want to lead because, it's good to watch the other guy and see what he's having to deal with so that you can make your decision. But that race, oh man, you had Remy Gardner in third. He finished third. Is that right?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
He finished third, but he was as far back as 8th. He was first at times. Locatelli was first at times, all the way back to 8th. Batista led that race. Toprak led that race. Alex Lowe's led that race. Ray led that race.
Okay.
It was wild. It was
Wait.
awesome.
Jonathan Ray?
Yeah, that guy that finished last or something.
19th. Yeah, damn. Close to last.
Yeah, he ran into Alex Lowe's, or vice versa. I didn't.
Okay.
They didn't actually show what happened, but
Okay.
they had kind of drifted back a little bit from the leading group, and then they were involved in an incident with each other.
Yeah, let's see. Where Lowe's crashed turn 1, Ray crashed turn 1 at the exact same time. Yeah, so
Alex Lowe's wasn't able to continue. Ray jumped back on the bike.
yeah, Lowe's went to the medical center actually.
Yeah, he looked like he was holding a wing.
I didn't know that. That's kind of cool though. When you download the results, they download the little race highlights, and it's like warm up lap started. Start. No jump starts. Redding crashed. Redding not actively competing. Wow, that's rough.
Redding's looking for a
Anyway.
job again. So if you go, I mean, World Superbike is wide open. Batista retook the lead by winning that Super Pole race. He retook the points lead, or took the points lead for the first time, but I believe Toprak's down 6.
Toprak's down 6, and Bulega,
Bulaga.
the Baloney Bullet Bulega is down 8 from Toprak, and Alex Lowe's is down 13 from there. So those top 4 really aren't. It's not a huge spread. After that, it's like a 30-point drop.
So just for all the questions at the first of the year, I know I'm paying too much attention to the BMWs, but you got BMWs winning in Moto America. You got BMWs winning multiple times now in Superbike this year. If If
You got
Top Rack,
BMWs setting PRs before lunch in Utah. Yeah.
yeah. How'd I forget that? So I'm just, if Top Rack quit right now, if he decided I'm retiring, they have already got more than they hoped out of him for the year. You remember we had the conversations. Will he win a race this year? Will BMW be able to win? Will he be competitive? And those were all questions. Now he's got multiple podiums, multiple wins.
He's won a race 1, a race 2, and a Super Bowl. He's won, yeah. He's standing second in the championship, only 6 points behind, which in World Superbike where you run a race and a Super Bowl in one weekend, you can have some big points changes in a single weekend.
Yes. And maybe prematurely, I'm not calling him the champion. I still think Batista is the guy to beat for the championship, but I know the BMW guys in their interviews directly after the race, the BMW brass, they were already talking about, we're here, we're competing for it. They got it in their head now that they're ready to compete for a championship with Top Rack aboard their missile. So
That's good. I mean, that's good. That's great. It's good when you have multiple teams that are both, 100%. We can do it.
I agree.
It's
World
very nice.
Superbike, just ask my pit boss, because my pit boss has said that they're enjoying World Superbike the most this year as well.
All right. Well, that's good. Well, I wanted to give a quick shout out to our American also over in World Superbike, Garrett Gerloff. Pulled home a 16th in the rain, rain, whatever it was, and a 12th in the non-rain, actual non-rain with maybe a little bit of rain.
Yeah, he beat Reddy. That's the important part.
Yep. So if you're not watching World Superbike because there's no Americans, you're wrong. There are Americans. There's Americans in World Superbike, in Moto America, in Moto 2. We got them everywhere. There's an American team in MotoGP. It's not an American rider, and we understand that, but hang on to your seats for next year. And hang on to your seats for 2027 when everything changes, I guess.
Yes.
So
when we go back to 750s.
Yeah. Every engine everywhere is now a Triumph. Anyway, that's about all I had, I think. I don't know if you had anything else, Cole.
No, I think that's good.
Sweet. Next week we'll be in Jura's MotoGP. We're not physically going to be there, but that's where MotoGP will be, and that is what we will be covering. So once again, just to hit home the fantasy, thanks for reaching out. Old Head, learned a little bit about his name. That was kind of cool. Sweet story. Also learned, how he found us and everything else. It's great to hear from you guys. We love hearing your stories, where you found us, why you're listening, and what that's led you to do. But yeah, not too late to lock in your fantasy. JKMoto Podcast League. Prizes every week. You don't have to win the full league. Just win each week. So, your first week, sign the top 4 guys, throw 3 boosts in place, and you can do it.
We should have made a no boost rule.
That would be dumb.
No boost for prizes. Boost for prizes.
No, because if you boost someone and then they wreck, turns out you don't win that week. I can say that from
that's fine.
Science experiment that I might have run.
You're gonna give me a cardboard sign that says "We'll work for boosts," because I'm gonna need a lot of them if I'm gonna get back in.
Gonna catch back up. Yeah, you'll probably beat Cole even if you don't join this week. Honestly, you could join 5 weeks in and still probably beat Cole. So
yeah, I don't know what's happening, but it's not good.
Anyway, all right. Well, that'll close us up for this week. I want to thank you all for listening once again. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on whatever podcast platform you're listening on, whichever one is your favorite. And then if you guys are ever at an event that we're at, hit us up on Instagram at JKMoto Podcast. DM us. Come find us. We'll give you some free stickers. Love to hear from our fans. So message us. Leave us some comments. Whatever it might be. We love it. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see y'all next week.
Thanks for listening. See you next time.